In this video, I will be going over a method I have been using to study how to draw better poses. I made a longer version of this video, but here is a short one for those who don't like long videos. Before that, I would just like to say, welcome to Edenwick, a place where I share my dangerous creative journey so that myself and others can learn from it. You will see me write, you will see me draw, and you will see me fail, but most importantly, you will see me grow. If you like art, writing, and videos related to them, then don't be afraid to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I'm hoping together we can build a creative community that promotes growth and productivity for beginner and intermediate creatives, so we can help each other transcend and reach greatness. Now, on to the video. Now this is only level 1 of learning to draw better poses. As I improve, I will add levels and eventually we will be drawing awesome poses from imagination. If figure drawing and gesture drawing isn't bringing you the improvement you want it to, then maybe try this method before revisiting those study methods so that you can better understand the forms of the body. In level 1, there are 3 phases. And at the end, you have the option of taking on a boss fight in order to test your ability and understanding of what you have studied. Phase 1 is simple. Tracing. Use simple forms to trace a mannequin on top of the reference. Cubes, cylinders, and spheres. The primary point of this phase is muscle memory and visualization practice, teaching you to see the body as basic forms. Start simple at first, but with each tracing, think of ways that you can alter forms so that they become easier to use and more efficient. Do not, however, trace the body as is. Only draw the forms on top of it. You do not need to worry about every individual bump and form shift on the actual human body. Only the universal forms that can be applied to any body type. After a few of these tracings, you can try your hand at Phase 2. Phase 2 starts off with you tracing a reference, and then beside that image, you observe and draw the forms that you had traced on top of the original reference image. This way, you are observing the forms and the body at the same time, one on top of the other. Do not obsess with getting the drawing exactly like the tracing and reference. What is important is that you can draw the forms accurately and get the energy or movement of the pose. You will spend a lot of time on this phase before moving on to the next. You will revisit it every time you use more complicated reference poses. But once you are able to do Phase 2 well, you will never have to do Phase 1 on its own ever again. Continue to find ways you can adapt the forms of the body so that they are easier for you to use. The goal is to find your ideal body constructions for the style of art you wish to do. And if you are using a method from an artist you like, you can still trace that on top of the reference image and then practice drawing it on the side. In Phase 3, you will take out the tracing step, and you will draw the forms of the body directly from the reference. In this phase, you don't want to adapt forms or use reference more difficult than you have been studying. Because you have been studying the references with the tracing on top, you should be better able to visualize the forms of the body on top of your reference without tracing, even if just a little bit. This phase is you basically just drawing from reference. Being able to do this phase consistently well means that you have completed level 1 and can now draw believable poses from reference. Now, remember, the reference you use determines the difficulty of the study. Do not start out with basic standing poses in Phase 1 and 2, only to attempt a foreshortening pose in Phase 3. If you want to use a more difficult reference, then start back at Phase 2 at least. Phase 1 is really just to warm you up to doing this type of study and to define the forms you will use moving forward. As far as the boss fight goes, what you want to do is apply this method to an actual drawing of a character. You want to use reference to come up with a pose, then apply anatomy and costume on top of it based on your skill level, so that you can test this drawing method in your actual drawing process. But remember that this is mainly about being able to pose characters. If you couldn't draw anatomy or clothes or even faces before this exercise, then they may not come out as good on top of the forms that you have created. But this is only the start. Being able to draw poses fast and efficiently with this method will make it easier to do other studies like clothing studies in the future. Alright, that's all for this video. I really hope I'm not leaving anything out. If you want a more in-depth look into this study method, I have a longer video on it that I will link in the description and possibly up in the corner if I'm capable of doing that. But if I can't, I hope this video was helpful to at least one of you out there. If not, let us know in the comments what could be done better. And if you know of other ways we can level up our art skills, let us know that as well. Also, while you're down there, I would love it if you would subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can see what we do next. But until we meet again, I would just like to say, welcome to Edenwick.